There we are. Yes,
There you go.
my IT coach.
Okay, it's good to go whenever you are, Marcia.
Perfect. So I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:31. I will turn it over to Sydney to read the land acknowledgement.
The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. The land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattaway-Durrunk and the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship on the lands in which we live.
Thank you very much. So we're going to move on to number 3. Are there any declaration of interests here tonight? Perfect. So now we'll move on. We're going to move on to the adoption of the minutes. So can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? I can't see anybody's hands. Tony, there you are. Sorry, it was on screen. Tony, anyone else? Linda, thank you. Okay, so I call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Therefore, okay, we're going to move on to number 5. Can I get a mover and seconder to adopt both minutes from March 7th and March 16th? Nella? And a seconder? Tony, thank you very much. So I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Very good. Okay, we're going to move on to section 6, correspondence. I'm going to leave that one to you, Sydney.
There's actually no items of correspondence this week.
Very good. Okay. Committee business. Would that one also be you?
Sure. So in the agenda package, we had the event calendar for the Age-Friendly Committee. So these are the events they proposed having this year. If this committee approves them, they will go, or they will be recommended to council, and council will give final approval.
Thank you. Any discussion on the packet that they had sent out?
Nope.
Okay. If everyone's good, then can I get a mover and a seconder to approve the Age-Friendly Committee calendar that they had sent out to us? Thanks, Carol. And a seconder? Thanks, Linda. Okay, so I call the question again. All those in favor? Opposed? There we go, pass. Okay, so we are going to move on to 7.2, the candidate tender update. Sydney, is this you or is Steph on?
I'm on. We had a special meeting for this committee to discuss and get feedback from the special events committee for the candidate RFP. It's my understanding from Sydney, though, that we do have some new members on. Correct, Sydney? Do you think I should just give a little bit of background on it? Okay, just for the new members, just so they're informed. Originally in our budget, we had been approved to have $50,000 to spend on event marketing or event coordinating company, I guess would be the right term, to plan our Canada Day weekend festivities as well as our Santa Claus parade. So staff had worked to develop a request for proposal for specifically the Canada Day weekend. We had submitted it to council back in March. And so council reviewed the request for proposal and after some consideration made the decision to request a special event coordinator be hired by the city instead. So rather than hire a company, we would hire the staff. And my understanding, and Councillor Decker can maybe provide a little bit more insight, is getting somebody who would actually be supporting us at a staffing level, would be able to have more community connection, and then also be able to support with other events like our farmers market as well. So we would essentially be getting a little bit more, trying to think of the words, a little bit more out of this this budget, if so to speak. So if Councillor Decker has anything else to add, I'll allow her to speak, but otherwise I think I summarized it to what council decided.
Yes, you did, Stephanie. There was a misunderstanding. We wanted an actual event coordinator so that it would take some of the burden off city staff. And although they would still work with city staff, getting some direction on planning and doing most of the work for the Canada Day, and trying to work with our local businesses and local bands, etc. So that is where we're at. I see that the job is posted. So hopefully we'll have someone in place ASAP.
Anybody, any questions or discussion? I do have one. Nella, so the proposed budget that we had last time for Canada Day, is that still standing? So the person will have that money that we discussed last time, plus they'll have a wage, like they'll have their own wage, and then that budget that we already put aside for Canada Day? Or is it less now?
The spending budget is different, I believe. I think it was approved during budget. I think it's the same as last year. Plus, then there was donations and sponsorships that we received as well last year. So I'm pretty sure we'll be getting that as well again this year. I think last year we received 20,000 in other money on top of what the city budgeted for us to use for Canada Day.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
So I can just provide some clarification on the budget. So the $50,000 that was put into have event contracting company, the RFP, come and run the event, that has been reallocated, as you said, Marcia, to pay for the staff wages. It's not just staff wages, there's other compensation and other materials that we would have to purchase for that staff, such as a laptop and cell phone and things like that. So it encompasses all of those fees. But then the original budget of $70,000, that's exclusive to the event, that is still in budget. And that includes all of our entertainment, marketing, supplies, advertising, staff wages for the day of the event. So all of the overtime pay for our operations staff, things like that, security, fencing, that $70,000 is still in budget. And then we also have, as Councillor Decker had mentioned, potential sponsorship dollars that could come in to offset those costs for the city.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions? Linda? Oh, I thought I saw your hand up, Linda.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Sorry.
you are.
Yeah, sorry, Madam Chair, through you. I just wanted to let everyone know that Heritage Thorold has set in motion the procedure to designate Lock 25, that's the lock in the Battle of Beaver Dams Park, to designate it as a heritage site for Thorold during the Canada Day celebration. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Tony, we're going to need you to be a crier for that.
Through you, Madam Chair, Linda, if you don't mind, once your committee has that resolution, would you mind just sending me the details so we can incorporate it into our program guide for the day?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? I only see 6 of you, so I apologize if I don't see somebody. Please speak up if I'm missing you. Yes, Sydney?
Through you, Madam Chair. I think Amanda had her hand up.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, Amanda.
Hi everyone. It's nice to see everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be part of our event committee. So I just have a quick question about that posting and looking for the event coordinator through the city. I'm curious what the discussion was about having it only as a temporary position. Is there any insight so I can understand where that, why it's not a full-time position?
Through you, Madam Chair, I don't mind answering that question if that's okay.
Oh, please do.
So right now, it was originally put into budget as a permanent full-time staff. At the time, there was also some discussion at budget that the city of Thorold is going to undergo an external organizational review. So a lot of our full-time permanent positions have just been put on hold until a third-party organization can come in and just do a review of the organization and the staffing needs. So it certainly could be the case that there is a long-term need for the coordinator position. But I think we are waiting as a municipality on the outcome of that external organization review to determine if it's that specific function, what the scope of the job would be and things like that. So certainly it could turn into a permanent full-time position at the discretion of council. But right now we're just kind of waiting for that organizational review to see where our staffing needs are. I hope I've summarized it, Councillor Decker, if there's anything else.
No, I am hoping that it will become a full-time position, but I'm quite happy that it is working as a casual position right now, or contract position. So I'm happy that we got that at least going.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next one, which is 7.3, the most patriotic city. So I'll turn to Stephanie Jarvis.
Through you, Madam Chair, I think that the request came through James Simmons from Councillor Decker. I think I'll try and summarize it to the best of my ability, but if I'm missing anything, please just let me know. So years ago, I guess not too many years ago, I think it was 2014, the last time it was really done in full scale. The city of Thorold, volunteers through the city of Thorold created an initiative to try and get the most Canadian flags out on properties, businesses, essentially for Thorold to become known as the most patriotic city. I might have the year wrong. I think it was 2014. I'm sure Tony will correct me. But James Simmons, who's a volunteer and who for the city of Thorold and who has lots of experience on many of our committees, including this one in previous years, put forth a request through Councillor Decker for us to consider trying to start that program up again. It's trying to get the community engaged into putting Canadian flags on their front lawns, houses, businesses, to see if we could become the most patriotic city. I did do some research into this a previous year. It was around the pandemic, so there was a little bit limited. I'm not sure what the measure of success was. I think some volunteers went around and counted the flags at the time. I don't think it was part of any official program, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, Tony, you can correct me. I did look through some award sites and things like that, and I couldn't find anything, but I'll give it over to Tony because he'll probably have the correct information.
It was originally it was originally to in order to claim that you had to have more flags than anybody else, and it was kind of like running for a record. Okay, there's somewhere that you have to register for this, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. And at the time, one of the it was sponsored by one of our local real estate agents, and they put flags on everybody's lawns just before the count. The tiny little ones, you know, so that everybody would have a flag on their lawn. There was a lot of noise from other municipalities at the time about whether this was, you know, whether this was according to Hoyle or not. But at any rate, another municipality has the title right now because we haven't done it. I think it was later than 2014, but we haven't done it in a while at any rate. You may have, we also had, it was also, we also had there was also a deal made with the hardware store downtown, which also doesn't exist anymore. They sold flags at a good deal that you could mount on your house, and they would mount it on for free. There's a student residence there now, but all of these things, a lot of people have taken their flags down in the
Not
meantime.
me.
No, but a lot of people did. It was for a large part because of the problems in Ottawa last year, and they didn't want to be identified as one of them. So you may have a problem getting it going again. I don't know. You'd have to find a new source for flags in that.
Nella, do you have something to add?
Yes, I do. So originally it was run by Terry Dow. She had worked for the Thorold Chamber of Commerce, and then I know Venery Real Estate is the one that purchased the flags. So going a few years back, we had thought about doing it again, but we had to put a halt on it because the Canada Summer Games were coming into play, and we couldn't put Canada flags down Pine Street where all those Canada flags were, because we had to put up the Canada Summer Games flags. And also we became, we got the award for Heritage, and those flags went up downtown. So we couldn't replace those flags either. So that's part of the issue. Now, I'm not sure if the Canada Summer Games flags are still up or not, and if they're going to continue to keep them up. So I did mention that to James Simons as well, that there's been a few changes with some stuff. And I know he had mentioned the help of Sue Moran, but I know that the city is not partnered with Venture Niagara this term, because we're trying to do more stuff in-house. So I'm not sure, Stephanie, if that has to come to council as to see if they're interested in doing that again. But I know that the Heritage flags stay up, and we'd have to see about the Canada Summer Games flags. And then the cost, I don't know what the cost would be then to do this. So that was a lot of the reason that it was put on hold, was because of the Canada Summer Games coming and their flags going up throughout the city and towards the facility and stuff.
Yeah,
And
I think, sorry.
Yeah,
go
go,
ahead.
Steph. You go, Steph.
I was just going to say, I haven't done an overall budget assessment. I would say that it sounds like previously there was lots of volunteers and lots of sponsorship for this program that weren't necessarily facilitated directly through the city. It might have been in partnership. So if the city was to take this on, we would just need to, and if we were to take on the cost, even with some sponsorship, you're correct, Councillor Decker. I believe it would have to be a report to council in terms of the cost. Just for some idea of the cost for banners, for the downtown banners, just along Front Street, those cost approximately, to get those replaced, about $4,000 in total. And then the ones that are along Pine Street, and then we have some in Port Robinson and kind of scattered throughout the city here and there. From what I recall, and I might be incorrect, but those ones are about $7,000 to $8,000. So just for some point of reference for those banners. And then obviously those tiny little flags aren't too expensive as long as we can get a hold of a bunch. The federal government used to give them away for free as part of their Celebrate Canada grant, but I don't think they actually give them to us anymore. But those are just some idea of the cost, but we can definitely do, what I would recommend is, if you wanted us to pursue this, is to put a motion forward for staff to investigate the costs, maybe even for 2024. just because of the timing. But it's absolutely at the discretion of this committee.
And just to point out too with it is we had to register our own flags. I helped volunteer during it. So when, if you put a flag on your house, that's how we got the most. It wasn't just what the city put up. It was what the individuals. So if Nella put up a flag, she'd go on the city website and we'd register our flags. And that's how they got more counts other than just those ones. But just so for those who don't remember, we did have to do that back then too. So is anyone willing to make a motion for this year or next? Tony?
I'd like to make a motion to request that council directs staff to investigate the costs and procedures involved in reviving the Canada's Most Patriotic City program.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Don't see any hands. I do apologize.
No, I don't see any hands either. Oh,
Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
So could we still be able to do this? Sorry. Would we still be able to do this without replacing this, without the city replacing all of those banners? Just have the registration from the local people?
Yeah, we could have the registration facilitated through the municipal website for sure. And then if you wanted to, like, maybe we could do a soft launch this year and just kind of see where the interest is and have people, as Marcia mentioned, just register themselves rather than the city initiating it. We can do some marketing and social media campaigns to support it. But then just kind of see how much interest we get and plan for next year to be a little bit more robust. Maybe that's a suggestion.
Tony, how do you feel about that amendment to your motion?
That's fine with me. To be perfectly honest with you, the banners don't make that much of a difference in the count. It's only every second banner, and they're not on every pole all the way down the street anyways. It requires thousands of flags in order to get the title. So no, so that's fine. If we can do it, we can do it without changing any of the banners. That's
Okay with you then? If we
Yeah.
amend your motion?
Yep, the amendment's fine. Yep.
So a friendly amendment?
Okay, I'll second it then.
Okay, can I call the question? All those in favor? Okay, anyone opposed? Thank you. Are you okay with that one, Sydney and Steph? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's best. Okay, so we're going to move on to 7.4, the farmers market working group. I'll let someone else speak because I joined the group, but I haven't heard anything from anybody yet. So, Nella?
Stephanie, if you have any information on it, but I do know that a report should be coming to our committee before they present it to council. So I would hold off on a working group for the farmers market until that's complete.
Okay, so we'll defer that one for now. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Any other discussion on it? Sorry, go Steph.
I was just going to say, if there's anybody who maybe Sydney, you could guide me through this, just because of the timing of when the market is. So Councillor Decker is correct. We're going to have a report go on April 11th for the farmers market, for council to approve the conception of the farmers market that we've put together with the support from small scale farms and a couple of our councillors. But in terms of a working group, I don't know, Sydney, can we still have somebody, how does a working group get formed? Can we have people volunteer and then I can reach out to them following that report to start that working group, or how can we manage that? Just out of curiosity.
So through you, Madam Chair, for a working group, the committee would just make the motion for the working group, the scope, and the length. and then they can appoint members of the committee onto the working group. There has to be less than quorum. And then members of the public who also aren't on the committee are able to just join the working group.
I
Okay,
do
great.
believe we did that last meeting, though.
Yes, I believe we made the motion to form the working group. I just
Yep.
don't believe we put anyone officially on it from the committee. So if committee members wanted to officially join the working group, there should be a motion to appoint them to the working group.
Okay, I'll make the motion, but before I do, is anyone willing to be on it other than me on a working group for the farmer's market? Am I by myself here? Okay. Well, can Tony make a motion for me that I can do it?
Pardon?
Can you make a motion that I can be on the working group, please?
Oh, I think Sydney just wanted a motion to form the working group.
No, we already did that last meeting.
Oh, right, okay.
So now it's to
Uh,
appoint people.
Oh, okay. Well, I move that Marsh should be appointed to the working group.
Do I have a seconder for his motion? Thanks, Nella. Okay, I call that, any discussion? No, okay, good. I call that question. All those in favor? Oh, I can't vote, sorry. Conflict of interest, thank you. Thank you, opposed? Yay, sorry, I'm excited about that one. Okay, so we are moving on to section 7.5. The entertainment section and schedule. I'll turn to Stephanie for this one.
Through you, Madam Chair. Sorry, for Canada Day, correct? I'm all mixed up.
Yep, we're on Canada.
Okay, Canada Day. Yeah, so I think we were going to have a similar schedule to last year with some slight adjustments. So for those of you who maybe didn't attend or don't remember from last year, we had our event. It ended up being on a Friday, Saturday, I believe. Oh, now I can't even remember. Regardless, this year we're on a Saturday, Sunday. So July 1st is on the Saturday, and then Rock and Blues on the Battlefield is going to be on the Sunday. So last year for Canada Day, we had the event from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. So 5 p.m. being starting with some children's entertainment. We had a magician, and then we had 2 bands followed back to back, followed by fireworks. We also had some other kids programs and activations in the park. We had some bubbles and balloons, and we had a inflatable slide and face painting. And then on the Saturday, we had Rock and Blues on the Battlefield, which was more geared to adults. And that was from noon till 8 p.m. last year. So just before we start discussing the schedule, some of the main feedback we had from last year was that people wanted some more children's entertainment on both days. Not necessarily having tons of children's entertainment on the second day, but there was some feedback of maybe we could get some balloon artists or just a little bit more. Luckily, we had our the company that dropped off the inflatable slide couldn't pick it up Saturday night, so we got it for 2 days just as a surprise, but that wasn't planned. So there was given feedback for more children's entertainment. But otherwise, we were thinking for this year that we might start it a little bit earlier, like maybe around 4 p.m. for Canada Day until 10 p.m. and then 12 p.m. till 8 p.m. for the Rock and Blues on the Battlefield. So if you guys just kind of want to discuss your thoughts and how we want the schedule to go.
Okay, any discussion? Anybody? Nella?
No, that's great, Stephanie. I know at council that we had talked about the Saturday because the bar will open later. I think at 5 when most of the kids are gone. So that's good timing. And then, yeah, Sunday would be obviously a shorter day because it falls on the Sunday. So I think that most of council was okay with all that timing and whatnot, so.
Perfect, great.
Tony, you had something?
Yeah, Canada Day itself is just going to be in the evening?
Yeah, normally last year, I do believe it was on a Friday last year. I can't remember. But we generally have always, prior to the pandemic, it was done in the later afternoon. And I think it was last year at this committee that we discussed it. I think Marcia, you might have been the person saying that in the afternoon, not many people came and they didn't come till later. So we decided to push it till later. And we had really, really, really good attendance last year, I'd say, for the times that we had. And I did notice that for a significant number of people stayed for the whole time. They weren't coming and going. But yeah, that was kind of the mindset, is you have people who are coming, they might have some dinner, they might enjoy the children's entertainment. And then they, if they don't want to stay for the music and fireworks, they get going. And then there's people who might come for just the music and fireworks, and they come around 6 o'clock. So we're kind of hitting those two key groups. But I think that was the discussion last year. Marcia, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Before COVID, it was all day, or at least from noon on. And I can tell you that it was busy all day long, because I sold tickets for the bar.
No, I think what you're thinking of was the Sunday when they wanted to, when we were discussing doing, Nella, correct me if I'm wrong, right? It was like we discussing Sunday and we said people aren't coming for 3 days. That's why we were suggesting.
Sorry, I'm sorry, for the Saturday, I thought it was gonna be 12 or maybe even like earlier. So like the afternoon would be for the kids.
Yeah.
So say from 1 to 4 for the kids.
Yeah.
And then after that, the bar would open for an adult evening of entertainment and music and stuff, and then the fireworks. So I think Saturday is gonna start earlier. We'll have to check with the times. I don't think it was gonna start late. I don't think it was gonna start at 4. I think it was gonna be earlier.
Yeah. I think it's better because then you have the opening ceremonies, and you can have the children's entertainment, and if they're still doing that, you can have the bike decorating competition, all that stuff in the afternoon when the kids are still alive.
Yeah.
And the vendors will like
We
it.
can discuss that perhaps when our event coordinator comes into play as well.
We
And-
will have to start planning a majority of the event before that coordinator is onboarded. Just if we're looking at timing right now, probably the interviews are going to happen in the next few weeks. And then if somebody needs to give notice, it looks like we're probably going to be hiring them probably mid-May. Unless somebody can just start with
Right,
notice.
Stephanie, I'm not thinking clear, but yeah, I think we'll have to, it's gonna have to be earlier, even if it starts at 2.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
get some
That's
of the
fine.
kids stuff in, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We can do that. No problem.
I think that probably LACAC would prefer it starting earlier in the day, for the simple reason that they're going to want crowds if they're going to do the designation. If they're going to do the designation of the lock, I think the whole idea was for designating it on that date was so that there would actually be people there. Otherwise, there's only a small group of real enthusiasts that show up for the designations. Mostly because most people don't even know what it is. So I would like to see it earlier in the day. The first year they had Blues on the Battlefield, it was a 3-day event, and it started on the Friday evening and ran into Monday, if I recall correctly.
It's only 2 days, that's all we got approved for, Tony, sorry.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine, but I think it should be, I think Canada Day should be more of a day than just the evening,
Yep.
For sure. So are we thinking 2 o'clock? I've heard a couple times. So I heard 12 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and I heard 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So which one do you think we are leaning towards?
Well, personally, for me, 12 o'clock's better for opening ceremonies in my uniform, because by 2 o'clock it's hotter than hell. Excuse my language.
We'll get you a hose. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine with me, Tony. I'm good with that. I think last year we were at the park early when the mayor was there doing the opening and
The
stuff.
opening wasn't until 4:30 last year. I'm looking on I just found the flyer. Yeah, we did gates open at 4:30, magic show at 5, Johnny Max Band at 6, Vinyl Flux at 8, and fireworks at 10.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I'm
was,
looking at it
yeah,
right now.
that was last year, yeah.
Yeah, that was last year's.
Um,
And then
yeah,
2 o'clock for the Sunday we started.
yeah, but
Oh,
last
thank you,
year, that
Marcia.
was the first time it was ever started that late.
Yeah.
It was, quite frankly, I know all the shuffle people and they weren't happy about that suddenly being cut like that.
Do
'Cause
we
they
want
had-
to? Oh, sorry, Tony.
No, that's all right.
Do we want to say 12 o'clock to 10 o'clock for Canada Day and 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock for Rock and Blues on the Battlefield? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Sorry, staff, more work for you.
Yeah, thanks, Marcia. No, I'm kidding.
I just want to ask, are any of the shuffle people involved this year?
We have had a proposal that I think Dave can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the director's just reviewing it with them currently.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask any more discussion. If you got more, go Steph.
No, if it's specific to that, we can definitely discuss it. I was just gonna say, as far as the schedule goes in terms of music and children's entertainment, is there anything specific that we're hoping to see that I can start planning, or is there anything you didn't like last year that you don't want to see, or just overall
Well,
feedback for?
I think the most popular was the mix of music rather than just solid blues, you know what I mean?
Mix of music, okay.
We found that even before COVID. I believe the last year before COVID, they tried to mix up the music. They had a couple of local bands playing covers, and I think that was a lot more. I think that mixture was very popular with some of the. That drew a lot of crowds.
And
Ella,
Stephanie,
did you?
is there any chance for us to look at more food trucks out there? Because there wasn't a lot of variety last year.
We really did try with food trucks. They were really hard to get. Just because, but Marcia was really nice and she sent me all of the local people who might be interested. So I'm going to start reaching out to them, hopefully this week, if not early next, to try and get them. I did get a couple food trucks on so far. Well, I had one for sure and one maybe. But yeah, they're really hard to get because a lot of them go to like Niagara Falls and Lincoln, and they're really big festivals. So
It'd be great. The more local people we could get, the better.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to promote. So that would be awesome.
for
Carol,
sure,
you
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to leave now.
See ya, Carol.
So we don't have. quorum
Okay.
anymore?
I'm sorry?
No, to Sydney.
We still have quorum.
Oh,
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
all right.
Carol.
Yeah, bye.
Steph too, I don't know if it's possible, but the bubble person we had for the 13 of 13, that group was so popular.
Sorry, which group?
Remember the bubble guy, the bubbles that were over by the parking lot? Like that
Yeah.
was insane. That was like one of the best kids entertainment I think we've ever had.
Yeah, we had him for Canada Day too. He was the magician, so we could definitely invite him back if you want. Are we thinking, I mean, since we do have the 12 o'clock, we could definitely, so he's called Bumbling Bert and he does magic shows, and they also do balloon and foam parties and bubble parties. So we could definitely bring them in for a magic show and, well, if they're available, I should say,
Yeah.
and some balloons and stuff as well, if you're interested in that. And bubbles.
I'm just saying, I don't have a kid that age, but I saw how popular he was and how happy those kids were. Nella?
Oh yeah, that's great. I know that I had a good time watching that magician. So he was pretty funny.
Yep.
That was great.
Anybody else on discussion of Canada Day? Linda?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, is there going to be any dignitaries invited to be part of the opening ceremonies?
Yep, each year we invite the MP, MPP, and then mayor and all the members of council. And if there's anybody else of particular interest you'd like us to invite, we can invite them as well.
Thank you.
So if anyone has any suggestions, please forward them to Stephanie. Okay, if that's all, we will move on to the next one, 7.6, the Santa Claus Parade, and discuss the date and the theme. I'll turn that one over to Steph again.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking so much tonight. So I just wanted to bring this up before I get the forms out. I know we discussed it last session, and I promise I will get the forms out after this meeting. But I just wanted to discuss the date, the time as well, not so much the time, but the date, as well as if we wanted to do a theme this year, because last year we were kind of pressed for time, so we didn't get a chance to discuss that. So if we'd like to do a theme, and then also last year's, I'm not sure if anybody was aware of this, but the city of Welland did theirs on the same day. Not that it was a big deal. We still got a decent amount of vendors out, and we still had a lot of attendance. I think our estimated head count was about 10,000 people. So it didn't affect our overall attendance, but we did miss out on some groups who couldn't commit to both. But I just wanted to put that out there, that if we're going to do it on the same day, if that's okay with this committee, or if we want to investigate doing a different day. I mean, it is Thorold's Day, technically. That's when the parade has been for the last few years, at least. So just wanted to open it up to discussion.
Yeah. If it's on the 25th, this year it's the fourth Saturday. It's always been the last Saturday, but some years that will be the fourth Saturday. Some years it'll be the 5th. If it's on the fourth Saturday, that is also the Smithville parade is in the afternoon. West Lincoln parade is at around, I think it's at 1 o'clock, or 2 possibly. Because sometimes we've had floats come straight to our parade from there. And the Port Colborne Crier does their parade and quite often joins me at this one. So
all I know is it's always the same week as American Thanksgiving, and that's when American Thanksgiving falls, is on that Thursday, and the parade would be on the Saturday. So the thing is, if you change a date, then could be some other event that's happening that day. So honestly, I think we should keep it the same last Saturday of the month. So yeah. I think the 25th should be the day, and perhaps maybe we can reach out first before others do, but I'm sure they already have. So
just for as a point of information, when we first started the parade, what we did was, I used to be on a number of Santa Claus parade committees before I moved to Thorold. So I knew a lot of the people to contact, and we looked at all their dates and everything, and that was how we arrived at the last Saturday of the month. It used to be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because the West Lincoln parade was at 10 o'clock in the morning. But when ours moved to the evening, they moved theirs to the afternoon. So
what's everyone's consensus? Do you guys want the evening, the 25th evening? Is that kind of where everyone's looking at right now?
Well, I don't think you can move it back, because you'll be some of the entries from the West Lincoln parade come in ours as well. I would love to see it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon again, but I don't think it'll work.
I think the reason it was moved was because they wanted lights
Yeah, that was the reason.
And
Yeah,
that's what people wanted. And I think that's why we get so many people that come out, because they want to see the lights
Well,
on the different.
we always had huge crowds at our parade. People come from out of town for it, even right from the beginning. But the only thing is that every year, even though I'm not involved with it anymore, I still get telephone calls from people asking me why in the hell the parade is at supper time. They got kids that have to eat supper. I
Well,
tell
it's
them I don't. I
either
tell them I don't know. I
Pretty
didn't
early.
do it. What's that?
It's pretty early, 4 o'clock. It was done by 5:30 last year.
Yeah,
And I was.
but when they first moved it, it was at 5 o'clock. And
Okay, so Steph, how do you feel? You're the one booking everything. 25th, best date for you. Evening, what works for you guys booking wise? Because that's it, like bands, everything. That's the most important thing. Santa, Mrs. Claus.
I mean, I think we were really, it was really last minute planning last year. I'm not going to lie. So at the end of the day, we only got about 45 entries, which I think normally we get about 70. But that being said, we're coming out of COVID. It was kind of last minute planning. If you look at the groups that we did get, we got those core groups that have been committed year after year. So we got the high schools for the most part. We got Dennis Morris, we had E.L. Crosley, we had Lakeshore. So we had a lot of key groups there. So I think that was really positive. And I think as far as timing goes, we'll still get those groups. And we can definitely reach out to some of the more Toronto bands and specialty bands. In terms of hiring entertainment, we got some for sure. Again, it was a little bit last minute, so we did miss out on a couple of them. And like I said, they did go to places like West Lincoln or Welland. The only thing that I can recall that was a conflict might have been Vance Badaway couldn't attend ours because he was in Wellands. That's the only real conflict I do recall from that overlap. Tony can correct me though, but as far as I'm concerned, I work at the direction of what the committee and council would like to see. So I'm open to whatever vision you guys have. It did seem to be a good time. It was well attended. But again, you guys are the ones to make those calls.
Tony, Danella.
For hiring bands, it's mostly the floats that come from other parades. Most bands will not do 2 parades in a day, so it's a matter of getting them before somebody else gets them. Usually the time, whether there's another parade at the same time or not, doesn't make a difference as long as you book them first. Because doing 2 parades in one day, I used to be in a band in high school, and believe me, that's a hard slog. Getting all set up twice.
Danella, you had something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I know it was short notice last year, but that was the feedback. That was one of our best parades. And the amount of people that came out was amazing. So kudos to you guys for doing that. So imagine now that we have more time, how much better it's going to be. I'd like for us to keep the same date and time. I mean, we can always push it up to 3:30 if you want, but
No.
the one thing we miss is the people that come down the streets and sell the cotton candy and that sort of stuff, because I know we didn't have that last year, so I'm not sure if we're able to find some people that'll do that.
Oh, I sold them lots of stuff. Don't you worry.
I'm sure you did.
We
I
had
had free candy. I had wagons full of free candy from the BIA for every single person down there. No kid went without sweets.
We had some free popcorn that the city gave out to at Prince of Wales School. It was kind of just a trial because I didn't know how it was going to go. So I didn't want to go too crazy with that. But it was really well received and people were still coming. We had some balloons and stuff too. And we had lots of people come and get popcorn, get balloons and things like that. So I think next year, if we want to look at maybe partnering with maybe some businesses and maybe some other groups, and we could help support and essentially have those treats and giveaways along because people are on both sides of the street, so they won't necessarily have access to it. I think that would be a really great opportunity. So
That's awesome, Stephanie. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, Nella, are you making a motion that we keep it on the 25th at
Yes.
4 o'clock?
Yes, if I'm allowed to make a motion, yes, I will.
She
Oh,
is.
you're allowed now, Nella.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, do I have a seconder for Nella's motion? Tony, thank you. Okay, I'll call that.
I just to add to that, may I suggest also at the same time, 4 o'clock or 4:30, whatever it was,
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
Perfect.
So can I make that amendment, Noah?
I think it was at 4 o'clock last year as well.
Sure, that's fine, but can I make that amendment to make
Do you
it
accept
date
this
and
friendly
time?
amendment that it be at 4 o'clock?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, so at this time, I'll call that to question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? So be it. Okay. So we are moving on to roundtable. Let's start with Tony. Oh, sorry, Steph, you go. Sorry, I see your hand.
sorry, Santa Claus parade theme. Do we want a theme?
Oh, yes.
I have a couple.
The theme's Christmas, isn't it?
What costumes?
I have a costume one.
Oh,
I have a superhero celebration where people could dress up as superheroes. I put inside Santa's workshop. So, and I'm not gonna lie, I checked out all the US parades to see what they did in the past. And then like another one, Let It Snow, because I just thought lights, snowflakes, but not sure what you guys like, but I did look up stuff.
I like them all.
I have one for 2025, but we'll save that.
We'll defer that till then.
Yeah,
I like the themes. We used to have themes back and it was fun, you know. We used to plan our floats around the theme and things like that. What's everyone's thought? Linda, any thoughts? You've been quiet.
I know, it's strange. But no, I like the theme. I like the idea of having a theme as well. I think it adds excitement and it generates extra interest in it besides just a parade at Christmas time. So
Amanda, any thoughts?
I agree.
Or
I
you-
don't think there's any better time to have a theme than at a Christmas parade. So
Steph, are you leaning towards anything that you kind of have your heart set on that you thought was kind of cool or have a vision?
No, I just really want a theme.
well, you have to make it simple because the schools make all their stuff for all those
Mhm.
kids. So
Yes, we do.
That's true.
it has to be something they can make out of a box or cardboard or a garbage bag.
You want like a winter wonderland? You had mentioned snowflakes and stuff, like
Yeah.
something like that, or
Yeah, I had Let It Snow as one of the themes because I thought snowflakes or, you know,
so like,
I don't know.
let it snow winter wonderland sort of theme.
Yeah, winter wonderland. That leaves
be
a lot.
cool.
That leaves a lot more.
And watch, there'll be no snow that day. It'll be the sunniest, hottest day in November.
It's always cold, but do we want to go with winter wonderland?
Sure.
What do you guys think?
Goes with her Thorold colors. With the
Yes.
branding.
What's
Yes.
that?
It goes with the branding colors of Thorold. The white, the blue, right? Like Winter Wonderland. That's what I think of, the frozen thing.
Yeah, yeah. You never know. We might have a Frozen theme, although we did last year, but
Oh, my Olaf might have to my costume might have to come out of storage.
We used to judge. We used to judge the parade. They didn't do that the last while.
We had COVID.
We
No,
can look
I
at
mean,
something,
you-
doing something like that again. I'd say maybe,
Even before COVID, it wasn't being done anymore.
Oh,
Um,
Oh, I'm on a call. Sorry, children.
So what theme do we want to go with? Because I know Marcia has to leave for hockey interviews, so.
I think Winter Wonderland's
Okay.
a good theme for this year. Yeah.
Tony's making a motion that we have Winter Wonderland. Do we have a seconder for this motion? Amanda? Okay, so I call that into question. All those in favor? Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
Okay, roundtable discussion. I'll start at the top. Tony,
Nope.
Linda, Nella,
No, I'm just excited that all this stuff is happening like so much earlier than last year.
Amanda. Actually, you tell us a little bit about yourself, Amanda, since we don't, I feel like
Sure. So my name's Amanda. I work for fundraising and events at a local charity, but I also have a business doing wedding and event planning. So you can kind of tell that the event theme is common there. So I'm just very happy to be part of this group. And I've lived in Thorold for a few years, so I'm happy to start getting involved with some of the events and activities. So thanks so much for having me today. I'm excited for what's to come this year.
Now, is there anyone else on? I can't see anybody else. I'm on my phone. So is there anyone else I'm missing for roundtable? Yes, Sydney?
Through you, Madam Chair. Ricardo is online. However, his microphone is not working, so he's not able to, but he is a committee member and he is here, just so you know.
Hello, Ricardo. Thank you. Does he have anything in the chat? Nope. Okay. Steph, anything? I have nothing, so that's good. Okay, our next meeting date is, Sydney, offhand, do you know when it is? Usually I do have it written.
Yes, so we actually need to decide a different meeting date for the next one because it's the same time as council. Looking at the committee schedule, if you push it back 1 week until the second Tuesday, that would not conflict with other committee meetings, but it's up to you guys.
So you're looking at May 9th?
Yes, that date doesn't conflict with anything.
Okay.
Sure,
does
that's fine. That's good.
That's good.
I trust you, Tony. If you say I'm good, I trust you. Anyone have a conflict with May 9th?
No.
Linda, you're good. Amanda, Ricardo, Steph? Okay, so we'll move it till May 9th for the next one. Same time.
Will that be a virtual meeting too?
Through you, Sydney?
So through you, Madam Chair, we haven't discussed with the committee if they want to proceed virtual or hybrid. The committees that have indicated that they were wanting to go hybrid are starting to transition to hybrid. If that's something this committee is interested in, we could move to a hybrid format, but it is up to the committee how you'd like to proceed.
Can we do either or?
So
Well,
when we do,
it is both. The meeting last night was for Parks, Trails and Recreation.
yeah, so when we do hybrid, I go in person and other members who would like to will go to council chambers, and then people are also able to join on Zoom.
How does everyone feel? I know Tony's feel. He wants in person, like itching at it. Anybody else?
I feel the personal connection is important. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm the only one.
I'm good with
Right.
Zoom. I'm not gonna lie right now. Yeah, Linda?
Are they still going to be recorded? I find it's beneficial. I go back and watch them again because there's so much you miss by
That's-
participating. So,
That's why we have to do them in the council chamber, because it's
Oh,
all
okay.
set up for that. Yeah.
oh, good. Okay. Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, so let's do it this way. How many people will go to council next week? How many people will go in person by show of hands? So 2. And then how many people would do Zoom? Probably me. Yeah.
And Carol has expressed her preference to be in person as well.
So, okay. So if everyone's good with it, we can do hybrid and do half and half, if that's okay. Those who want to see, I was on Zoom yesterday for Parks and Rec.
Yeah, it just depends on my schedule. If I can
Yep.
make it to City Hall, I will. If not, I have to go on Zoom. That's the way it is.
Same with me. I have all the rep tryouts starting. If not, Tony can be my chair for me. That's all. Just hockey begins. Okay, so with that being said, we will adjourn this meeting at 7:30. Oh, perfect timing. And with no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Night.
Happy Easter.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
everyone. Great to
Bye.
meet you.
Yes.